Ricky was one of my favorite people too.
Were you around with that story with Mike Rotundo when his balls got
Yeah,
ripped off?
yeah.
Could you explain that? I never heard.
He was drunk and they were climbing over a fence to go to the pool, and they had the spike uh, fences back then, right? The chain link fence, and he slipped and got caught on it. Woof.
Are you related to a John Sullivan?
John L. Sullivan.
Yeah, John L.
Yeah,
Sullivan.
the famous boxer. My brother was John, named after him.
What would have been your plan for the revolution had they stayed in WCW? And you don't have to go into detail on this.
Well, I made Benoit the champion. We were going to make Perry and Dean the tag team champions. Bob Bull has that in his book. And we had big plans for them.
Why was there never much of a women's division in WCW?
Because back in the day, there wasn't that many girls breaking into the business. And now, they're some of the best workers in the business.
Did Blackjack Mulligan and Bob Roop ever fight?
Yeah, one punch. Mulligan was a one punch guy. He had hands like a catcher's mitt. He knocked Roop out with one punch.
Teaming with Ken Lucas, any stories
Oh,
from that?
Ken Lucas. I learned more from Ken Lucas in 9 months as a babyface. And the other guy that's a carbon copy of Ken Lucas is Ricky Morton. And Ricky will tell you that. If you ask Ricky Morton who's the greatest babyface you ever saw, it's Ken Lucas. Ken never got the recognition he deserved.
Was Time Warner as hard to deal with as Bischoff and Vince Russo claim?
Yes, yes. Not so much Time Warner. It was when AOL came in. AOL came in, and I remember there was a guy named Blair Underwood, not the actor or singer. He was the acquisition guy. He came to me and said, Kevin, I checked your contract, and it's on Bill's desk. You're going to get a 3-year extension, but you're not going to be here that long. I said, why? He said, because Time Warner's going to have a guy in your room telling you what to do. And first week I come, after they do it, I looked at Craig, Keith Mitchell rather, and I said, Keith, who's this guy? He said, I don't know, he's from Time Warner, I guess. The next week he says, you can't use the word foreign object, it's an international object. You can't have violence, you can't have people getting hurt. I said, well, what is this, checkers or wrestling? And they were started the downfall, yeah.
Are you a fan of CM Punk?
Yes, yeah.
Someone says to ask you about Rick Rude.
Rick Rude was a dear friend of mine. He came to one of my birthday parties, and when I was booking for Mario Savoli, we used to have a little segment called Wrestling Update, and when he won the championship when World Class broke away from the NWA, we said we'd like to send a congratulations to Rick Rude. And Rick was a nice guy, and he respected me because him and Flair got into a real altercation. And I was lucky enough to be there, and Mean Gene, God rest his soul, said, I think you're the only guy Rude would have listened to, so.
Were you there for the Eric Watts thing, or was that during your time you were outside of WCW?
Now, that was the time I was outside. I never was there when Bill was there.
I see. And how did you become part of the Legend of Mickey Dodge National Geographic show?
It was funny. Mick lives over there in the woods. There's 1,000 Vietnam vets, former Vietnam vets living there. And he would come over to my island and he would give seminars and training. And 2 of the girls that he gave seminars to were involved in TV. And they got the pilot shot, and he came over to me one day and said, I'd like to have you on the show. So I had a great time. It's a beautiful part of the state. I mean, it's beautiful. It's desolate. I mean, it's great.
Weirdest celebrity encounter.
Greatest celebrity encounter. Dennis Rodman.
Who's easier to deal with, Juventud Guerrera or Conan? I already know the answer to this.
Conan.
How did you like Juventud? That's my question.
Juventud was a nice enough guy if he was in that group of his guys. Once he got out of that group, he kind of drifted off. I mean, you know, the famous thing in
Oh, Australia. Were you there for that?
Oh, where he got naked and was running down the streets.
He assaulted a female police officer.
Yeah, not a nice thing to do.
A fan asked this question. This was going to be one of my questions. Memories of the Honky Tonk Man, your former tag team partner.
I had a good time with Wayne. We were tag team partners in Memphis, then we were tag team partners in Knoxville. If you had told me when he was Wayne first that he'd become the Honky Tonk Man, I would have said you're crazy. And he's the greatest intercontinental champion of all times.
As a Boston sports fan, how good was Larry Bird in his prime?
Bird and Magic saved the NBA.
Were you paid after WCW released you in 2001?
Yes.
Any funny Dusty Rhodes stories?
Yeah, Dusty could be a trip. I mean, Dusty had a great sense of humor. He could make fun of himself at certain times. I had a wonderful time with Dusty. He certainly helped my career, and I miss him to this day.
How was Vampiro to deal with?
He's a nice guy, but he's in a different level because I think he spent so much time in Mexico. Their business is different, and I think he was very protective of, and paranoid a little because of how Mexico is. Being an American or North American anyway in Mexico.
What are your thoughts on the whole Jim Cornette thing with NWA?
How did they let that slip? If they're so mad about it, 6 weeks later, they miss it, and nobody stood up. One of the things that I pride myself on, when I make a mistake, I'll admit my mistake. Whoever let that slide, it ain't Cornette's fault. 6 weeks, they never looked at it, or the day he said it, no one ever said, whoa, Jimmy, maybe we went a little too far with that.
Do you think the XFL is going to be a success?
It's going to be hard. It's going to be very hard. I mean, can you watch football year round? I don't think so. It's been tried a bunch of times. You know, what was that one before that? The USFL. There's been that other one, that American Association of Football last year. It's tough to watch football all year round.
I already know the answer to this one, but how is J.J. Dillon in The Office?
If I ever had a company and I had a chance to hire one person, it would be JJ. He caught a lot of people's mistakes, including mine.
Any thoughts on the Ready to Rumble movie?
I thought it was good at the time because it exposed the business, but I think they could have got a couple of better name actors to be involved in it. Not that those guys didn't do a good job, but, you know, a couple of cameo appearances by somebody